Color guard, attention. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, prepare to post the colors. Post. Scout salute. For those not in uniform, please place your right hand over your heart. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Scout sign. Please join me in reciting the Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to love my country and to obey Scout law, and help other people at all times to keep us active and strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Scout law. That is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and clever. 2. Please be seated.
Good evening. Let's all take a moment to pray in whatever manner speaks to you. Dear God, Great Spirit, and all that is beautiful in this universe, we ask for your blessing. Because these 4 young men you've watched over all their lives are fun like anything, outrageously crazy at times, and yet have shown themselves to be resourceful, adaptable, honorable in their ways and words, and ever helpful to their community. We ask for your blessing. And because it has been the capital joy and honor of my life and so many of other lives, their families, our friends, our special scouting community, to have been afforded the opportunity to watch them grow into the fine young men that we celebrate here today, we ask for your blessings upon all that they will do in their lives, for everything we do in all our lives, and for your blessings upon their Eagle Court of Honor this evening. We pray that their lives may ever be touched by all that is wonderful and good, and if in finding it not so, for your blessings and guidance in helping them to do their best to make it so. Amen.
Hello, my name is Blake Fregoso, and I'll be your MC for this evening. So, this ceremony is held for Naveen Bahadur, Ronan Gunn, Wyeth Levy, and Peter Smith, who all started their journey 7 years ago. They started as the Pine Tree Patrol and joined Troop 67 by doing so. To earn the highest rank in scouting, a scout must spend a great deal of time and effort fulfilling the requirements of rank advancement. Naveen, Ronan, Wyeth, and Peter's efforts, as well as those of their scout leaders and families, culminate today in the presentation of the Eagle Scout rank. This is an occasion for pride and joy, as well as a time for reflection. At this point, I would like to call Assistant Scoutmaster Jeff Levy to lead us in the invocation.
Wait, you already did that.
You already did
Which
that.
just happened. Sorry, the script kind of got skipped. So, thank you, Mr. Levy, for the invocation. I would now like to invite Mr. Robert Gunn to read a poem.
Give me a scout that will be strong enough to know when he is weak and brave enough to face himself when he is afraid, who is proud and undaunted in honest defeat, but humble and gentle in victory. Give me a scout whose heart is clear and whose goals are high, who will learn to master himself before he tries to master others, who has learned to laugh but has not forgotten how to weep. Give me a scout who will look to the future yet never forget the past, who has enough sense of humor that he may always be serious. Give me a scout with humility to learn that to know himself is the foundation stone of all knowledge, who has not followed the paths of ease and comfort, but has solidly faced the trials of challenge. Give me a scout who has learned to stand up to the teeth of the storm and has learned to accept passion for those who fail, who has knelt to give sympathy to those who cannot help themselves. Give me a scout who so stands before his fellow man that his scoutmaster dares to whisper, "I have not lived in vain." And when you find this scout, he bears the mark of an eagle.
Thank you, Mr. Young. I would now like to call Sam Herman to the stage. And Maxwell Francis and Josh Paulson as well.
The foremost responsibility of an Eagle Scout is to live with honor. To an Eagle Scout, honor is a foundation of all character. He knows that a Scout is trustworthy is the first point of the Scout law for a good reason. An Eagle Scout lives honorably not only because honor is important to him, but because of the vital significance of the example that he sets for other Scouts. Living honorably reflects credit on his home, his church, his troop, and his community. May the white color of the Eagle badge remind you always to live with honor.
In practice.
The second obligation of an Eagle Scout is loyalty. A Scout is true to his family, Scout leaders, friends, school, and nation. His loyalty to his troop and brother Scouts makes him pitch and carry his share of the load. All of this helps to build the loyalty, which means devotion to a community, to country, to one's own ideals, and to God. Let the blue of the Eagle badge always inspire your loyalty. The third obligation of an Eagle Scout is to be courageous. Courage has always been a quality by which men measure themselves and others. To a Scout, bravery means not the courage to face physical danger, but the determination to stand up for the right. Trusting in God with faith in his fellow man, he looks forward to each day, seeking his share of the world's work to do. Let the red of the Eagle badge remind you always of courage.
The fourth obligation of an Eagle Scout is to be cheerful. To remind the Eagle Scout to always wear a smile, the red, white, and blue ribbon is attached to the scroll of the second-class Scout, which has its ends turned up in a smile.
The final responsibility of an Eagle Scout is service. The Eagle Scout extends a helping hand to those who still toil up the scouting trail. Just as others helped him climb to the Eagle, the performance of a daily good turn takes a new meaning when he enters a more adult life of continuing service to others. The Eagle Scout stands as a protector of the weak and helpless. He aids and comforts the unfortunate and the oppressed. He upholds the rights of others while defending his own, and he will always be prepared and put forth his best. You deserve much credit for having achieved Scouting's highest award, but wear your award with humility, ever mindful that the Eagle Scout is looked up to as an example. May the Scout oath and law be your guide for tomorrow and onward.
Thank you, Sam, Max, and Josh. Our Eagle Scouts would now like to share a brief slideshow depicting their scouting journey. Enjoy.
Screen, please.
Screen down. The button at the top. The button at the top.
Turn the lights on.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah. If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. Oh, find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. I'm gonna do my best to do my duty and grab my compass out the tent. Oh, this place is a beauty. Before I leave, brush my teeth with the Cub Scout Joe and tell him if we see a bear, just don't be too slow. I'm talking running on our toes, trees ripping off our clothes, the reception on our cell phones. Tree climbing, allergies make us sneezy. The scout life ain't too easy, and this mountain's getting freezing. Mountain's getting free. Boy Scout got a drought now. He's an Eagle Scout. More wood, he look good now. Do the Robin Hood, kill that bear, but beware. You're not allowed to swear now. Boy Scout got a drought now. He's an Eagle Scout. More wood, we look good now. Do the Robin Hood, skin that bear, keep the hair, eat the meat. It's very rare and say. Ain't got a fear in the world, but got plenty of flares. Ain't got no matches in my pocket, but the fire appears. And now the Girl Scouts line it up, 'cause they say we got swagger. But we give them pocket knives, 'cause they can't handle our daggers. I'm saying, climbing all the trunks, running away from the skunks, chasing off with those punks. Until the campground kicks us out, or Peter shuts us down. Peter shuts us down. Peter shuts us down. Boy Scout got a drought now. He's an Eagle Scout. More wood, he look good now. Do the Robin Hood, kill that bear, but beware. You're not allowed to swear now. Boy Scout got a drought now. He's an Eagle Scout. More wood, we look good now. Do the Robin Hood, skin that bear, keep the hair, eat the meat. It's very rare and say.
was thinking about the band. I was thinking about the fans. We were underground, loading merch in that 12-passenger van. In a small club in Minnesota, in the snow outside of First Ave. I just wanted my name and a star. Now look at where we at, still growing up. Still growing up. I would lay in my bed and dream about what I'd become. Couldn't wait to get older. Couldn't wait to be some. Now that I'm here, wishing I was still young. Those good old days.
I wish somebody would've told me, babe, that someday these would be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. 'Cause someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of the good old days.
Wish I didn't think I had the answers. Wish I didn't drink all of that glass first. Wish I made it to homecoming. Got up the courage to ask her. Wish I would've gotten out of my shell. Wish I put the bottle back on that shelf. Wish I wouldn't have worried about what other people thought and felt comfortable with myself. Rooftop open and the stars above. Moment frozen, sneaking out and falling in love. Me, you, and that futon. We just begun. On the grass dreaming, figuring out who I was. Those good old days.
I wish somebody would've told me, babe, that someday these would be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. 'Cause someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of the good old days.
Never thought we'd get old. Maybe we're still young. Maybe you always look back and think it was better than it was. Maybe these are the moments. Maybe I've been missing what it's about. Been scared of the future, thinking about the past while missing out on now. We've come so far. I guess I'm proud. And I ain't worried about the wrinkles around my smile. I got some scars. I've been around. I felt some pain and seen some things, but I'm here now. There's no
And now I would like to call up Sam Herman to give a few remarks about our 4 scouts. Sam was the glorious leader on their crew on the Philmont Trek 3 years ago, so he has a lot to say.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I can't express how proud I am of these guys up here. They have done amazing in their scouting career, on and off the court, and the one thing I want to make clear, though, is they were the most annoying new boys ever. That's it. I don't know, Troop 67 has not had to deal with that bad of annoyance. It's incredible. Peter Smith, great work ethic, stellar guy, most annoying kid, 12-year-old ever. Yells language constantly, doesn't. It's incredible. He's just always there. If we're ever doing something wrong, which we're scouts, we do that, Liesl knew right away because of Peter. Just every time. Every time that was happening, rewind a little bit. So, I swear, just back to the point on Peter, we wanted to just tape his mouth shut and lock him in the car. Every time we tried to play music, he'd yell language because all the bad words and everything, and it was very inappropriate. With the schemes that he comes up with constantly, the random chanting that he can just pull out of nowhere, is some of the most ridiculous things you'll ever hear. Even from day one, he has always come up with the most outlandish forms of entertainment you can imagine. And if you think that there is no more room on your pack, Ronan can tell you that that is not the case. There's always more room, no matter what. You can keep on attaching things, and you learn that real quick. If you ever are camping with Troop 67 and there's weird chanting or bunch of young kids yelling and doing stuff, it's usually because Ronan and Wyeth are there, making them go crazy. And they have no clue what they're doing, but they're having a great time doing it nonetheless, so I guess that counts. Naveen started off kind of shy, and then quickly saw that Peter was getting yelled at by us because Peter was getting us in trouble, and realized he didn't want to be part of that. But he had no problem instigating the rest of the Pine Tree Patrol, and then removing himself from the situation before he got in trouble. That was the key part of the whole thing. And we just sit back and watch the chaos unfold. So the four of them and I went backpacking at Philmont Scout Ranch, and the trek was close to 80 miles or 100, depending on who you're asking. And it was one of the most fulfilling and greatest experiences I've ever had. And except for Craig's. Craig's was a waste of time, and if you ever have any idea of going on a little side trek, make sure you read the map carefully, because if you don't, it's not just a little side trek, it's a couple hours. And
Whose idea was Craig's?
that was all me, and that was 3 years ago, and I still hear about it constantly. But hey, that's why they call it navigating, not navigating. So. Despite the challenges that we faced on our trek, it was amazing to see these guys take the knowledge that they gained from their years going through the ranks and applying it to a real life experience. And we had the greatest crew ever, and I had a great time leading us through and spending those 2 weeks with you guys. Watching these new boys come up through their patrol, their Pine Tree Patrol, the Swish?
Oh yeah, Sway.
Watching them start off as new boys, and then going through their rank advancements, trekking through Philmont with them, and then having the opportunity to work with a few of them at Wente Scout Reservation has been an incredible journey, and an experience that I will always carry with me. Congratulations, guys, on reaching Eagle Scout, and good luck with everything you are going to do in life.
That was no rebuttal?
If anybody else has anything else they'd like to add to this court, now would be the time. Oh.
Hold on.
Liesl, are we sure we want to do this?
You know what, it wasn't my
Be it known, I have a few words I'd like to share today before we bestow this honor upon these fine young gentlemen. Harken back to circa 2012, young, naive Assistant Scoutmaster George is approached by four kind of nerdy-looking, basically tenderfoot scouts who are interested in starting a robotics club. To which I said, sure. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I'm here today to tell you. First things first, it takes money to build a robot, and we didn't have any. So, in the ensuing weekends, I found myself in Naveen's driveway with a hose and sponge in hand, washing the neighbors' cars. After a while, I'm pretty sure they actually paid us not to wash their cars. From there, we had a bake sale, and then another bake sale, and then another bake sale. And then I think by the grace of many parents in the audience today, through your generous donations, we were finally able to buy our VEX Beginners Robotics Kit. So the big day finally arrived, and we received our kit in the mail, and we opened it up. And I don't think you guys knew the difference between a Phillips head screwdriver and an Allen key, a wheel from a gear. We couldn't even code the software to say hello world, the most basic computational operation in software coding. But through the weeks, you guys persisted, and soon we had our first robot. This robot could accomplish 3 functions, one of which was useful. The first function was as a doorstop. So congratulations, you built an outstanding. second was bruising the ankles of our sisters. And the third was scaring the heck out of the family cat. I thought it was funny too until the Humane Society called. But you guys stuck with it, as you clearly have. You built many very successful robots, some more than others. My personal favorite was the automation of the scout troop standing at attention. This was pure brilliance. These four prodigies, I might say, designed a robot that introduced the colors, basically posted the colors at our court of honor. I think Bill Gates, Steve Jobs might have shed a tear that day. That was truly, truly brilliant. And your fellow scouts, thank you for that. And then from there we went down to Anaheim. We saw the VEX World Robotics Competition. Realized we were a little outgunned on that one. But nonetheless, it was quite the experience. So here we are today. Through your persistence, through your hard work, you guys are here earning your Eagle Scout Award. I would like to be the first to say congratulations. It has truly been an honor to work with you, young gentlemen, and to see you come into what you have today. So, way to go. Good work. Congrats.
Thank you very much, and I guess that leaves me. So, first, I'd like to call Peter. This man right here would probably receive the most average scout award. He's average looking, average scouting, and average everything. And what some of you may not know is that he's also not the king of best decisions. Like the time he convinced my mom and I to drive to, Whittier? No, Watts. To get a quesadilla. A 30-mile drive, and we could have easily made one at home. Next, also, we decided to go on a biking trip and expected to be home by 5. Let's just say that we were home a little after 8. So not the best decisions, but he obviously made a good one and stuck with scouting. Next, I'd like to call Wythe Levy. This man right here easily would get a nosebleed on every campout that we went to. Sadly, this was the same blood he needed to do backflips with, and as some of you may remember, he chose to do a backflip in front of a campfire. Not the wisest of decisions, but also complained later when people asked him to do it again. Next up is Naveen Bahadur, and I'd like to call this man a scaredy scout. I'm sorry, but this is the young scout who, about a year ago when we were in Big Bear, decided to tag along when we went through the backcountry and decided to unstrap 2 minutes later while his father continued down the road. And also the simple fact that Ronan and Naveen started at the same time, skiing and snowboarding. Ronan later converted to snowboarding, good decision, and ended up passing Naveen in level. So that's another story for another time. Last but not least, Ronan Gunn. This man is a derpiest scout of life. As can be seen by the pedestal. From the 8th grade, he started out as a turkey, constantly making the sound effects of one, and now chooses to act as a goat. Ronan, would you like to do an impression?
Ziga.
So yes, the goat, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of goats, there's a little story we'd like to share with you about a goat 893. So last camporee, the one where Lisa was, during the last camporee, Ronan and I decided to search for a place to hold our Order of the Arrow ceremony. And for those of you who do not know what Order of the Arrow is, all will be revealed at the proper time. And so Ronan and I came across a herd of goats, and they were behind a fence. One of the goats decided to get his head stuck in the fence. Ronan decided to help said goat. Meanwhile, about 20 feet to our right, the entire herd got out of the fence. we have to warn them is, and we didn't do it, or the only 2 words we could say. But yeah, the goats ran into the field and had to be herded by the goat herders later on. So, all in all though, I must say, these scouts definitely have earned the rank of Eagle Scout. Their dedication and persistence is one that has been noticed, and there's no one else I'd rather go through the process with than these guys. So.
All right.
And last but not least, I'd like to call up Liesl Herman to the podium.
Gavin.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Do you mind if I...
Yeah, I think we forgot somebody. Yeah.
Gavin Bahadur, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Lisa. This is more people than what I had rehearsed for, I'm sorry. Scoutmaster Liesl Herman, Scoutmaster Emeritus Mr. Fulkerson, George Sondecker, fellow Assistant Scoutmasters, Scouts, other Scouts out there, friends, family, Sam Herman. I wanted to, number one, thank everybody for coming here tonight and celebrating with us. Thank you so much. I want to especially thank my wife for allowing me to go to Wente again and again and again. And I wanted to thank my parents, because without them, I would not be possible. And they did travel 2,000 miles from Washington, D.C. Can we just have a hand for all the grandparents and parents that have come from Scotland? It's really nice to see all these generations of people here helping to support us, and I really appreciate it. So tonight we're here to celebrate the accomplishments, the achievements, the character of 4 very special young people. We're here to celebrate their tenacity, their ability to solve problems, their ability to work together, their strength, and their grace. But enough about the mothers of these 4 boys. Let's talk about the Scouts themselves. Which one of you victims would like to go first? Ah, why? An excellent choice. On my honor, I promise to do my best to make these 4 Scouts squirm while sparing the rest. Wyeth Levy, where shall I begin? I have always, always loved your smile, your ability to just brighten up a room, the way your mind works. I will ask you a simple question and you will reply and I'll be like, boy, I never thought he was going to say that. Wyeth is one of the most independent thinking people that I know. It doesn't bother, he's not into this whole, well, what are people going to think, or this is what the cool thing is. Whatever he believes to be right is what he does. And I wish we had more people in the world like that, so I appreciate that. Wyeth Levy is also the kind of person who, if all the Scouts were jumping off of a cliff, Wyeth Levy would be like, yeah, that doesn't sound like such a good idea, guys. And he would walk away. Of course, he would later jump off of a much more dangerous cliff on his own. Yeah. Who would like to go next? Among you, there is one who never has a hair out of place. He's very much like me in that regard. Ronan, you were actually very hard. It was very hard to come up with something to say about Ronan, because Ronan is one of the politest young guys I know. He's one of the most reliable people I know. He has a great family. His sister is best friends with my daughter. And so there's really nothing negative to say about Ronan, and I certainly don't want to say anything negative about Ronan, because otherwise his family will kill our family. So, Ronan, I've always enjoyed having you in the car, and I especially liked it when you helped push my car, which I think you've done many times. Thank you. So, Ronan is the kind of person who, if all the scouts were jumping off of a cliff, Ronan would be the guy who would jump off the cliff with them, because he's always friendly and does what everyone's doing, but he would do it while wearing a cape in style, without a hair out of place. Thank you, Ronan. That leaves two of you guys. It looks like Peter's jockeying for position. Peter Smith. Peter So in some ways, I'm very exasperated by Peter Smith, but in other ways, like, I feel like he's the son I never had, but the son I always deserved. Liesl, I think we lost one of the boys. There's a seat for you in the back there, sir. So the thing with Peter is this. Peter was like the only scout. We would go on all these trips, and we'd wake up early in the morning, and these kids would, like, come out blurry-eyed. But they'd all, they'd be dressed in the Class A uniform and all that. But Peter somehow, like, first thing in the morning, he would already have both of his shoelaces untied. There would already be dirt on his face. Like, how did you get dirt on your face already? You were at home. And Peter, how should I put this? So if you're, let me just pose it to these guys. If you're gonna walk someplace in all kinds of terrain in the wilderness, and you're gonna carry everything that you need on you, you have to carry it for 10 days. Your clothes, your tent, your sleeping bag, right? You're gonna be careful about what you pack. How many people here are going to bring with them a chair and a string of holiday lights? That's mind-boggling to me. I was having a hard time just carrying like bare essentials, and I see this guy with like his extra solar antenna and his batteries. So, needless to say, Peter Smith is the kind of guy who, if all the scouts are jumping off a cliff, Peter will, of course, jump with them because he's, again, very friendly, very agreeable. But somehow, on his way down in midair, using nothing but his handkerchief and his slide, he will create a hang glider, and then just as he's about to alight on the ground, pull out a chair from nowhere. I mean, this is remarkable. So anyway, you guys are great. Who's up next? Oh, geez. Naveen. So clearly there's some disclosure. Clearly there's a conflict of interest here, but I decided that I would show no more favoritism to my son than the president of our country shows to his kids. So Naveen, the thing about Naveen is this. To be honest, and this is just between us, because I don't want him to hear this, but to be honest, I didn't think that he was actually going to make it all. I knew he was going to do well as a scout. He's hardworking, he's honest, he's trustworthy, and all of that. But to go, during high school, he's got like marching band, and he's got other stuff that he does, and so I just didn't think that he would stick with it and be able to get his stuff done. So, Naveen, thank you for proving me wrong. I've always thought you have terrible time management skills, but apparently that's not true. Apparently you're somehow able to do jazz band and to do multivariable calculus and to become an Eagle Scout, as are a lot of guys out here. So I commend all of you who do all this stuff in high school. And of course, Naveen is the scout who, if all the scouts were jumping off a cliff, Naveen would, at the end of the trip, be like, "Oh, Dad, there was a cliff?" All right, so I have gone on long enough. Can somebody hold this? Oh, Blake, can you come? If you just hold this mic. I have gone on a very long time, so I don't want to go on much. So, just in closing, So this is volume 1 anyway that I brought. 'Twas another night at Wente, and all through the troop, not a tenderfoot was stirring, not one making a poop. The young scouts swam, they canoed and they climbed, leaving no trace, well, maybe an orange rind. Back in the day, these were just 4 little boys who loved snacking, laughing, and racing Pinewood toys. Over the years, they learned the ways of the Boy Scout think tank, learning from all the hard work of Mr. John Sing Sing. Thank you, John. Our troop, Troop 67, provided adventure, a warm tent in which to nestle. Blake, you can be at ease and sit down. Thank you. A warm tent in which to nestle. And there was always a chance you would capsize in a small sailing vessel. The legendary Mr. Fulkerson. Where is Mr. Fulkerson? Thank you so much for coming here, Mr. Fulkerson. The legendary Mr. Fulkerson taught us to carve with sharp knives. His lessons on blood circles surely saved many Scout lives. Troop 67, a welcoming village, complete with Scoutmaster dogs, a place to dine on tri-tip and raw leg of frog. These guys here have snowboarded down mountains without breaking a bone. And we've got it all on camera, thanks to Todd's epic drone. Thanks, Todd. We're keeping that on the down low, guys, because it's a little dubious. These 4 boys have learned their constellations in the sky. They've painted troop flags on an easel, all the while getting yelled at by their scoutmaster, Liesel. Now, Philmont presented rough terrain, and the climate was fickle. The food was not gourmet, but gosh, we love that cold pickle. Isolating our smellables and cooperative group forming, punctuated by horseplay while avoiding interpersonal storming. I'll never forget that 70-mile trek where night after night we hoisted bear bags. And yes, Sam Herman darn near killed us on a detour called Crags. These 4 fine feathered fellows are a motley crew at best. They play magic in video games through the night without taking a rest. There's a guy here named Wyeth. Any obstacle can he climb. And this kid can do sit-ups until the end of time. I've seen you do sit-ups, Wyeth. If you happen to need an interior decorator in your tent, Peter's your man. Even his baked goods can be sent. Now, Naveen is not exactly your go-to scout when it comes to hauling large, heavy packs, but he sure can nail a solo on his cool jazz band sax. You'll find Ronan to be kind, his words heartfelt, and man can he snowboard while sporting a pelt. This is the hard part of what I practice. Over the years, I've learned that life can take many routes. Accompanying on my journey, I can think of no better scouts. These are true gentlemen who've grown kind, courageous, and tall. I must admit, I really do love them, one and all. These boys have been such a wonderful part of my life as all these years have gone by. I'm really going to miss them as upon their eagle wings they fly.
Thank you, Mr. Bahadur. Now I would like to invite Scoutmaster Liesel Herman to the podium.
I would now like to present Naveen Bahadur, Ronan Gunn, Wyeth Levy, and Peter Smith. can you please join us along with your parents on stage? Wyatt, you need to come down here and then you can go on there. Does that make sense? Yeah, we're going to need you to help with the pinning. So stand with your boys up along here. No, look, you need to be by the stuff. This is the hard part. All right, so here we go. I'm going to let Ed take a picture. And then I'm going to tell you guys what you have to do next. Behind you, you will find 4 velvet boxes. And on those velvet boxes are the Eagle Scout medals. Our mothers will pin those medals on the right-hand pockets of our scouts. It's harder than it looks. Oh, sorry.
You're right or our right?
This is the pocket that all your bling goes on.
That's
yeah,
right.
your left side pocket. And your,
Yeah, just making sure, Lisa.
yeah, got it. Okay, that's your task. In case you're wondering, Wyatt has been waiting a long time, an extra long time for this day, and we had presented him about a year ago with his medal.
Which I left at home.
That's the only thing we forgot today, and we're good. Nice. No one will ever know the unnumbered acts of self-sacrifice and helpfulness from the mothers of these Eagle Scouts, which has led us to this night. And I mean, no one. As the symbol of what your mother has made possible, the court now asks Naveen, Ronan, Wyeth, and Peter to each present his mother with an eagle pin. They could actually carve a neckerchief slide faster than they can pin these pins on, I promise you. Four men have stood by you over the years and have now offered their encouragement and assistance. As a symbol of what they have contributed to your attainment of this award, the court now asks you to present your fathers with an Eagle Dad pin. Oh, here comes another thing we forgot. Okay, so I'm just going to say while we're waiting for these guys to pin their fathers. Scouts, by virtue of earning the Eagle Scout Award, you are now eligible to become a member of the National Eagle Scout Association. The troop has enrolled you in a 5-year membership. I would present that membership to you right now, or I would have your fathers do it, except for I forgot them. However, fail not your fellow Eagles. I know exactly who said that. Fail not your fellow Eagles, for your responsibilities are now greater than before. As you go forward in life receiving other honors and awards, always remember this night when you became an Eagle Scout. All right, so we would give you the NISA memberships, but tough. Oh good, I get to sit down again. All right. So now, I think we can take one last picture of the families, and then we're gonna dismiss your parents, and you can do your mentor pins. Oh yeah, I guess I gotta do that too. Good thing we scripted that part. Yeah, exactly. Oh, so we have extra.
Anyone want it?
All right. All right, the other guys, take Wait, was everybody
I signed up for it, but membership.
Oh, because it's stuck.
So we can live interact.
Okay, so yeah, so nothing but the finest from Boy Scouts of America. Okay, well, Ronan's is stuck, so we're just gonna leave it like that.
People want more. Really? Yes.
Big deal. I think it is.
Okay, but it's going to be spring, so we can use the other one, right?
Yeah, actually we can. Because the other one is actually a much finer quality exercise made by Dale Fulkerson. One meal that Ronan cooked where he actually did a great job. Perfect.
So this is your home.
Well, it's lovely for all of us.
Okay, we did it.
Blake's gonna sing for us.
That's not gonna happen.
One moment, please. Okay, so we're gonna do the mentor pins now. So the mentor pins go out to people who have been a mentor for us in our scouting career. So I guess we'll start with Dale Fulkerson. Now, he was our first Scoutmaster back in 2011, 2012. And he really stood out to me as a true scout. He knew everything there was to scouting. He had a whole bunch of merit badges, 42, I think, which is insane. And I just could see that he knew a lot of stuff, and he had really inspired me to go on and get Eagle.
Mr. Fulkerson is sort of like, I guess for lack of a better analogy, he's a little bit like Gandalf, because he seems to just know everything, and he's always a very reassuring and calm presence. And whenever I was younger and doing some really stupid stuff, instead of coming up and yelling at me, he would come up and give me this backstory from his experience on why what I was doing was bad, and I learned it way better that way. So thank you.
Yeah, I shared the same experience as Wyatt, that calming reprimand instead of the angry reprimand, and also just always being there with the carving skills and all the scout skills, just an incredible first Scoutmaster.
Yeah, similar to these guys, I would actually say that he's more like Dumbledore, because Dumbledore is better than Gandalf. Yeah, Mr. Fulkerson, just thank you so much. You were our first Scoutmaster, and you brought us in with open arms to Troop 67, and you taught me everything I know about wood carving, so thank you.
So Mr. Fulkerson, could you come up? Also, Naveen and I have had the pleasure of, although he's left, been able to see him up at Mammoth, which was also really nice. That's it.
Next person we would like to thank is Miss Sing Sang. Yeah, to keep it brief, she was always very on top of everything that was going on. She helped us in so many different ways on the back end of things, logistics and all that. And she was the one who helped me find an Eagle project.
It was basically the same as Wyatt. I always could ask her for help, and she just immediately had a solution, no matter what it was. And I asked her for an Eagle project. She was like, "Bam, here you go." And I think without her, it would have taken me at least twice as long to figure out my whole Eagle project. I just wanted to thank you for that.
Mrs. Sing Sang was incredibly understanding. She was just providing support where I needed it and staying hands off where I had it, and that was just great leadership, and thank you so much for the support.
Yeah, thank you so much. You did all the behind the scenes work for my Eagle Scout, and all the paperwork and everything that was involved, like the pencil pusher, all the work that the behind the stage that no one else saw, but we did. We thank you for it. So. And next we will do Mr. Sing Sang. Oh, yes. Mr. Sing Sing, you were always like a very fun scoutmaster, very happy all the time. And you taught me so much, everything from personal management to Clash of Clans. So thank you so much for all of your help with that.
Yeah, Mr. Sing Sing's always the first one to greet me at the meeting since he's always there first. So I walk in, say hello, and just a friendly face, and so much help with the personal management merit badges and throughout my scouting career. Thank you.
Yeah, really nice guy. Really, really good at paperwork.
I've always seen Mr. Sing Sing as the most calm person ever. No matter what happened, no matter how annoying we were as new boys or how annoying the new boys were, whoever they were, Mr. Sing Sing was just completely calm and nothing made him angry. It was amazing. I don't know how he did it.
All right, so the next person we'd like to thank is Mr. Levy, and he started out as one of our first Den Masters. So for those who are not part of Boy Scouts, first year in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. So he's been a Scoutmaster for the last 11 years for us. And so we'd just like to thank him for always being there and for being Wyatt's dad. That was pretty cool too. So thank you.
Yeah, he was there from the beginning, and like the initial thing that kickstarted our energy into our vibrant scouting careers that we have today. So yeah, thank you for sticking with us all those years when we were young and annoying, and we still are. But
Mr. Levy, I kind of joined these guys late in the pack, but after I met you, you really stood out to me and helped me further my scouting career. And thank you.
Gave me half my chromosomes.
So next up is Gavin Bahadur. Now, I met Naveen in a crib, so I've basically known Gavin my entire life. So he's been a mentor in scouting and out of scouting. And he's really been a great leader to me. He's almost like a second father. And I don't think anything will be as good of a story as Philmont and the time a rogue street sign decided to attack his car. We were stuck on the freeway for who knows how long because it was Friday and rush hour.
Mr. Bahadur, he was kind of like our second shaman if our first shaman got sick. Because he would always like, I'd be freaking out about something stupid on the Philmont trek, and he'd just come up to me like, dude, it's not that big of a deal. And I'd be like, you know what? You're right. Yeah, I did a headstand. That was cool.
Yeah, Mr. Bahadur has been one of my mentors and leaders since I was very young, and I met Naveen in kindergarten. And we have a very similar sense of humor, at least I think we do. But he's honestly so much smarter than me that it could be something else, I don't know.
Yes, Gavin Bahadur, my dad, Captain Capsize, whatever you want to call him. Just thank you for coming with me to Wente all those years and being my buddy, even when I didn't want you to sometimes.
Okay, so that's the last of all of us together. So then next we're going to do individual ones. So Ron, you want to start?
So my mentor is Sam Herman. You're welcome. don't get up. Yeah, you still have to sit down. So, Sam didn't really stick out to me as a leader, like at all. Kind of just seemed like the guy who was just completely done with everything us little boys were doing, until Philmont happened. And then he just really stepped up, and I'm like, dang, he's a good leader. And then he came up, he's like, hey, do you have space in your pack? I'm like, no. Then he says, yeah, you do. And he just straps more stuff on my backpack, and I'm like, hey, that wasn't that bad. And thanks for Crags, by the way. So yeah, that's about it.
Wait, Sam, we need to hear this Crag story. What was it, like a 5-hour detour?
It was like, it's not that much of a story. It was like a mile down of switchbacks and then a mile back up of switchbacks. For no reason. It was really steep.
Hey, we saw Cool Creek, okay?
Pretty at the bottom, I guess. So I guess for my personal mentor pin, I have to thank Mr. Edo Kitsu, because he was like such a helpful force on my Eagle project. He knew basically everything about painting, and I knew basically nothing about painting, so it kind of worked. In short, he was also, he was just very knowledgeable, very friendly person. And he did, like, besides just my Eagle project, he's usually helping, but he's oftentimes not, like, he doesn't stand out. He's very quiet, so I think it's, I would like to recognize him. I don't know if he's here, though. So, yeah, thank you, Mr. Okitsu.
All right, for my personal mentor, I would like to thank Todd. You were always my buddy in those high adventure treks. You taught me so much about snowboarding, drones, and mountain biking. Yeah, you remember that, yeah. So thank you so much for that. And another personal mentor pin will go to George Sondecker. George, thank you for always being the smartest guy in the room by far. And just starting out so early when we were so young, and you pushed us through and you leaded us, and we had a great robotics team. And I will always remember those robots and just being in Peter's living room, messing around with all the different settings and all the work. So thank you so much for that experience.
And then while you're still up here, I'd also like to give you a mentor pin. Thank you so much for fulfilling my dream of creating a robotics team. And then also, we have the same birthday, so that's pretty cool. I'm jumping on the bandwagon. George was always a really cool person. He's like a cool guy to look up to, kind of inspired me to go into engineering a bit, among other things. So it was just awesome to work with you. Okay, now I don't know what to say. So, George, you've always inspired me, and you've been a really smart guy, in my eyes. And you took us to JPL. That was a really fun trip, and I just wanted to thank you for all the things you did with and for us. All right, for my second mentor, I'd like to thank my teacher, Mr. Matthews. He's my robotics mentor at my current high school, and since sophomore year of high school, he became part of the school and has been our advisor. And last year I took his computer science class. Over the past several years, he has dedicated his afternoons and weekends to supervise my friends and I as we built robots for school competition. So Some are sitting back there. And he enlivened my life and the lives of my friends with tall tales and witty observations, as well as solid advice. He also happens to be an Eagle Scout himself. Okay, thank you, Mr. Matthews.
So I have to give one more personal mentor pin, and this one goes to Jeff Youngs. He was always just like a very welcoming person, and he helped guide me through sort of the middle part of Scouts, which was probably the most difficult for me personally, but he was just kind of like a very helpful guiding hand, and it was awesome to work with him. I don't know if he's here though, so. Yeah, Mrs. Young.
Okay, and for my final mentor pin, I'd like to thank my grandmother, Jill Smith. She has guided me through Boy Scouts and life since I was born. As a child, she helped introduce me to the outdoors and the ocean by taking me on trips to Idaho and the aquarium. Throughout my life, she has looked after me and kept me on the right path. And near the end of my scouting career, she pushed me to become an Eagle Scout in honor of my grandfather and her husband. So thank you, Grandma.
Now I'd like to ask all of the mothers to come up in front of the table here. Like now, please. Or all of the mothers of us Scouts. Sorry, the rest of you are cool, but not that
They all say best mother ever.
Yeah, you have to fight after. They all say best mother ever.
So I think that's about it for mentor pins.
Oh wait, we forgot Liesel!
Liesel, you're cool. Hold on, that's not it. So, you've really pushed me to rank up over the years, even when I was like a Life Scout for like 3 years. You kept pushing me. You're like, Ronan, you're next. I'm gonna annoy you next. So, it's always fun to mess with you, and I wanted to thank you for putting up with me on all the rides to and from Wente when I just would not stop annoying you. And I know you stress out a lot about all of us Scouts, and I know that's because you care, and I wanted to thank you for caring for each and every one of us.
I could probably write like a 5-page essay on how much you've helped me through Boy Scouts, but I'm not gonna do that, because that's, I'm gonna respect the audience's time. But like, you've done actually so much to help me get through it. Similar with Ronan, like, I had so much fun annoying you and doing all these shenanigans. It's just been a really awesome time. And I have to thank you. I probably would not be an Eagle Scout without your support.
Liesel used to call me her little assistant, and one day I hope to live up to that role. Because Liesel's just an incredible person. She has a gigantic job. She works for the council. She works for us in Boy Scouts and Order of the Arrow and Camporee and all these things. And she just puts so much into our scouting careers and our lives, and so thank you.
Yeah, similar to all these guys, words cannot even describe how much work you put into making Troop 67 what it is, and leading us all to Eagle Scouts, and just all of your support, offering your home to us, your Big Bear house, and just letting us play loud music in your car coming back from one day, like very loud, the bass all the way up. And so yeah, thank you so much. And we actually got you something. It is a custom-made tissue box, because we know you're going to need it. It has all of our pictures on it, and it says Liesel's Eagles.
Come on here, guys.
With your tissue box.
Oh, yeah, you can do that.
I've been amazed to report. Whose face is yours?
The cheesiest one. In high school, I was a swimmer. I kind of feel like I just got out of the pool. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And there's no microphone stand. 7 years ago, a small Weeblo den from Pac-12 at Grant School came to visit our troop as part of the process of reaching Arrow of Light, the highest award in Cub Scouting, and selecting a troop they would bridge to once they were ready. The troop was a lot smaller then, with a lot younger scouts, and I remember it was noisy and chaotic, and the Pac-12 Weeblos were super squirrely. I told them about Boy Scouts, they couldn't sit still, and I gave them little rubber bracelets shaped like arrowheads and fleur-de-lis, which they loved. Several months later, they bridged into our troop, and as the assistant scoutmaster assigned to run Trail to First Class, we began our journey together. Oh God, I can't even see. Michael B. Kent, who I spoke to this morning, and he sends you his love and his best. He can't actually believe that you're really here, so I need a picture that I can text to him after this. And we decided to hold a little election. Or he was their troop guide, and we decided to hold a little election so they would have the first of their rotating patrol leaders. I knew we were in for quite a wild ride with this crew when they all voted for themselves. Except for one, Wyatt Levy, who had another vote along with his own. So it began that Wyatt was the first to do so many things. He ripped through his first ranks, doing literally thousands of sit-ups and pull-ups along the way. We camped in terrible inclement weather, went on our first backpacking trip in the desert, and ended up at a summer camp in the wilderness of Klamath Falls, Oregon, in a place so infested with mosquitoes, I questioned whether we would make it out. All the while, Wyatt was a positive, enthusiastic little guy, eager for every new adventure, no matter how painful. I think he likes pain a little bit. He became a patrol leader very early on and found it to be a tremendous challenge, crying all the way home after one of his first meetings in the position because it was so difficult leading his cohort. Slowly, he mastered the position and became one of the strongest leaders in our troop. He advanced so quickly and accomplished so much. I wrote a request/recommendation letter. Actually, I twisted a lot of arms. And he went to National Youth Leader Training a year early. He was only 12. You're not allowed to go at 12 anymore. Just in case any of y'all out there want to go and you're not 12, don't even ask me. Blame it on Wyatt. He did so well there, he came back the following year as staff for the next course. He was also elected into BSA's Honor Society, Order of the Arrow, and quickly became the Vice Chief of Ceremonies, where he gathered his friends and held some amazing ceremonies, from blue and golds to call-outs and ordeal ceremonies. I am so proud of him for the great work he did in learning all his lines and performing them so well. He also became a parkour enthusiast and inspired many others in the troop. I can't even believe I'm talking about this because I really thought he was going to kill people when he did this. But he became a parkour enthusiast and inspired many others in the troop to join him in hopping from one scary course to the next, for a time performing parkour moves at the parkour move of the week at each circle up. Somewhere along the line, after his quick ascension to Life Scout rank, his enthusiasm for Scouts waned, and he became a more angsty, surly teenager and did not want to participate as he once did. We were all getting concerned about whether he would stay in Scouts at all, when suddenly Wyatt made a great scouting comeback and finished his Eagle Scout Award far ahead of schedule, and actually ahead of some people in the cohort above him, primarily so that I wouldn't be all over his case, which was a genius move. I must commend him for that. Wyatt is full of surprises. On a camp out at Verdugo Oaks, when I was hoping the campfire program was coming to a close so I could go to bed, I was somehow talked into letting it turn into a dance party. That's why I get for listening to Joe Wicklund, which was hilarious and chaotic. Suddenly, Wyatt walked up right in front of me, turned to the side, looked me straight in the eye, and did a complete backflip right over the concrete floor. I nearly lost my mind. I mean, like, seriously, I was screaming. It was crazy. And it was still one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in my entire life. Don't do it again. Wyatt is an amazing young man. He inspires people with his quirky brilliance and incredible physical abilities. And if you have never heard his chemistry jokes, you are truly missing out. He never ceases to surprise me with his latest endeavors, learning multiple languages to becoming a coding phenom. I am so proud of you, Wyatt, and excited to finally be here celebrating your Eagle Award. I feel like I've cried myself out all day, so I think I'm doing good now. Naveen Bahadur was also a member of that wild den from Pac-12. Naveen was more quiet and thoughtful than his cohort from the beginning. He threw himself into every activity, from scout development to hiking, navigating to cooking. He was always enthusiastic. Naveen can be a great mediator, able to help his patrol or crew come together and incorporate different ideas into the project or task. He genuinely cares about everyone in the troop, and it shows in his leadership style. He was the youngest assistant senior patrol leader in recent troop history because he is respected by everyone. One of the qualities that help make Naveen such an outstanding servant leader is his sense of humor, even if it is at his own expense. As a member of the 1st Troop 67 robotics team, Naveen helped with the team's first robot. He was so excited at the Court of Honor, where the shiny new robot was introduced to the troop, and enthusiastically waited for the initial demonstration. I caught his expression on my cell phone as it changed from pride and joy to surprise and shock when inexplicably the robot began to roll and started crashing over and over again into the podium. And that video, I used to stick it in every Court of Honor video for months, for probably years after that. It never stopped being funny. Naveen has a capacity for suffering that exceeds most people's, and I have watched it over and over. Like hiking or camping in the none of us like hiking or camping in the snow, but I've literally watched his lips turn blue and he keeps going. He is brave and tenacious in the face of adversity. His well-earned reputation as a calm, hardworking leader earned him a nomination to the Order of the Arrow, where he has participated in numerous ceremonies and events. His Eagle project was especially meaningful. He planned and built a beautiful garden at the preschool he attended. It clearly demonstrated his thoughtfulness. It has been truly an honor watching Naveen grow and develop into the wonderful person he is today. The thought of him going to school back east or down south is almost more than I can bear to think about. Because I will miss him so much after all these years of relying on him to help make our troop the special place that it is. From the age of 11, Ronan Gunn embodied most of the 12 points of the Scout Law, and this became very clear at that mosquito-infested camp in Oregon when Ronan arrived a day later than the rest of us and settled right in and never complained once about the insects, the heat, or the boring Trail to First Class program that I had enrolled the new Scouts in, knowing they had already mastered most of the skills being taught. Ronan has a way of making everyone around him smile and laugh. He can find the good in any difficult situation, and he is eternally optimistic. He is also an instigator, full of idiosyncrasies, including his penchant for dressing like a Norse god while snowboarding. He can muster a flash mob like nobody else. I have a video of him dancing to Gangnam Style that is hilarious. Ronan is a special kind of weird, and it makes everyone want to join in whatever he is doing. Ronan is also a strong and compassionate leader who has a wonderful way of bringing everyone together and making any project fun. I must admit, he makes me roll my eyes more than any other Scout. But he's also someone I can always count on 110% to do the right thing and give everything his best shot. He inspires other Scouts with his ability to do almost everything well. He is an excellent all-around Scout. Ronan's most outstanding qualities are his loyalty and kindness. He is an extraordinary friend, teammate, and crew member. He will carry more to make other people's experiences better. He will work harder to make sure we finish on time, and he will do all of it with a smile on his face. I can't imagine what it'll be like when he leaves for college. Last but certainly not least, the final Weebelo from Pac-12 is Peter Smith. At 11, Peter had started several businesses, developed his own newspaper, and planned to be an Eagle Scout by the time he was 12. Yeah, there's a reason that we didn't have this little shindig in December. Entrepreneur, journalist, engineer, and junior lawyer, all rolled into one. Peter was eager to try everything, and because he is extraordinarily talented and resourceful, he managed to do many amazing things all at once. He founded the Troop 67 robotics team, designed and printed t-shirts to raise money, and led them to competitions for several years. Skiing was always an experience with him. On our first outing to Mountain High, he brought delicious chocolate chip cookies from one of his businesses, Peter's Great Bakery. On our last MLK trip, he organized the most efficient and fun trip. we have ever run in Big Bear. And you know, I just remember that time where you and Naveen were trying to bribe me to go down a blue run, and you were like, we'll pay for you to go take a lesson. And like, if you've ever like broken your legs snowboarding, like, whatever. I have. It's not cool when you're an adult. He has learned a lot along the way to Eagle. As a young scout, he was so capable of doing so many things, he often did them on his own. But as the years rolled by, he inspired others to join him in his brilliant plans. Once at summer camp, he designed fantastic drums and masks made out of duct tape in our troop colors. And as the troop ran through the camp for the Wentathlon with our flag flying and the scout charging, it was like a scene from a movie. He has an unmatched ability to inspire scout spirit in our troop. Slowly, the arguments over whether he could be an Eagle at 12, I told him absolutely not, were replaced by many other arguments, like, can we play capture the flag in the pitch black after campfire? No. We have argued more than any other person I have ever met in my entire life, and I'm 52. But one thing I promised him from the beginning was that I would never tell him he was trying to do too much. I have always tried to encourage his wild and fascinating ideas. The one memory I have that demonstrates the true character of Peter happened a long time ago. It was at the end of an event during which we all suffered for over 24 hours. We were all exhausted and hungry. We each had less than a teaspoon of macaroni and cheese to eat, and Peter looked at me and urged me to take half of his, in spite of the fact that he was starving. Which was hilarious too. For a reason I can't even tell you, but it's super funny now. Or we have revealed at the proper time. When it really matters and the stakes are high, Peter will put the people he cares about before himself. Peter is someone I want in my lifeboat. Peter set a new standard during his term as senior patrol leader for the troop. He did an exceptional job of planning, guiding, and leading our adventures and troop meetings. This past summer, he worked at Scoutcraft at Camp Wente. He developed a tremendously exciting and fun First Aid Merit Badge class and was honored as Employee of the Week when we were there for week 6. I could not be prouder of him. So here we are today, honoring these 4 exceptional Eagles. It has been 7 years, and we have traveled hundreds of miles together, experienced some wonderful and some horrible things. We have learned from each other and all grown together in the process. This is one of the proudest days of my life. Thank God it's finally here. I love and adore each of you, and I am so proud to be your Scoutmaster. Alright, so there's another extraordinary, and I'm going to read that because I made this up this morning. You can thank Ronan's mother for this. You guys are starving and you want to eat that cake. Alright, so another thing that is extraordinary about these Eagle Scouts is not only have they been awarded their Eagle, but right now I have the great honor of giving them their Eagle Palms. So starting with Peter Smith, who did an additional 5 merit badges: nature, orienteering, sculpture, graphic arts, and the ever-thrilling pulp and paper. He gets a bronze palm. Naveen Bahadur got a bronze palm and a gold palm for leatherwork, kayaking, canoeing, wood carving, and Indian lore, climbing, public speaking, rifle shooting, sculpture, and our favorite, small boat sailing. Wyeth Levy has a bronze palm and a gold palm for snow sports, graphic arts, pulp and paper theater, fingerprinting, most difficult merit badge, forestry, chemistry, nature, Indian lore, and archery. He got half of archery and had to wait like a couple years till he was big enough to actually be able to pull the bow to get the rest of it. Okay, and our winner of the night, like I said, perfect scout, Ronan Gunn. He has bronze palm for wilderness survival, archery, Indian lore, leatherwork, and public speaking. A gold palm for pets, cycling, small boat sailing, canoeing, and basketry. And a silver palm for mammal study, kayaking, astronomy, orienteering, and entrepreneurship. And he gets another bronze palm if he gets 3 more merit badges at Lincoln. The process of earning one's Eagle Scout Award does not end with this ceremony. I have confidence that you will honor scouting with your life and service as today's scouting has honored you. The eagle soars high and seeks to rest only on the lofty peaks. As an Eagle Scout, you too must soar high. You must not swerve from the path of duty. You must strive to obtain that which is highest and noblest in life.
Thank you, Liesl. Now to deliver the Eagle Charge and administer the Eagle Scout Oath, please welcome Eagle Scout Dr. Ian Smith.
All right, let's activate these eagles. Okay, here we go. The Eagle Charge. Naveen, Ronan, Wyeth, and Peter, when you pledge yourself on your sacred honor, you'll be sealing your eternal loyalty to the code of the Eagle Scout with the same words which close the Declaration of Independence. Will all Eagle Scouts present please stand and join Naveen, Ronan, Wyeth, and Peter. Standing scouts out there, scout sign and repeat after me. I reaffirm my allegiance. To the 3 promises of the Scout Oath. I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself the obligations and responsibilities of the rank of Eagle Scout. On my honor, I will do my best to make my training an example, my rank and my influence count strongly for better scouting and for better citizenship in my troop and in my community and in my contacts with other people. To this I pledge my sacred honor. So scouts, parents, and guests may be seated. By the authority vested in me by the National Court of Honor of the Boy Scouts of America, it is my privilege and pleasure to pronounce you all Eagle Scouts, and may the oath you have taken remain graven on your heart forever.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the privilege of introducing Troop 67's newest Eagle Scouts. Naveen Bahadur, Ronan Gunn, Wyeth Levy, and Peter Smith. Odin, will you please come forward and retire the colors?
I now declare this Eagle Court of Honor closed. Please stand for the retiring of the colors. You retire the colors.
That concludes our ceremony. You may now enjoy refreshments and cake and everything else. Thank you.